Hi, I'm Jamie, and I am the creator of One World, Your Story, where we bring people together. And right now, we need this more than ever. The murder of George Floyd, the latest of countless Black Americans to be murdered at the hands of police in America, has set off a chain reaction across the United States. People are angry, people are hurt, and rightfully so. We cannot stand by and allow this to continue any longer. It's time to use our voices and bring this conversation out into the open for good. So, join us for this episode of The Floyd Files.
How are we going to change this world if we just continue to spread hate? The only thing we can do is just love one another.
See it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. So we are go. So let's go ahead and get started. So as many of you know that are listening, my name is Jamie, the creator of One World, Your Story, and I am so excited to be here today with Treon and Yahshiya, the creators and founders of the United Races.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, so let's have you two go ahead and introduce yourselves, because really all I know about you is that you're both 19 years old, living in New York and organizing protests, and rather big ones at that, getting a lot of traction and doing some really great activist work. So before we get into all that, let's hear a little bit about who you two are. How did you meet? So let's start with who you are. So Yahshiya, you're at the top of my screen. Let's have you go first.
Oh, man.
Tell me a little bit about you.
I was born and raised in New York. 19-year-old kid from Brooklyn. It's not really that much to know about me. You know, I'm just a nice guy. Like, I don't know what to say.
I think you're pretty cool.
Climate. Thank you. I appreciate it. Right now in this climate, I just decided, like, you know, I feel like it's time to stand up for something and to do something positive, especially because, you know, after seeing the videos of George Floyd and all the videos for the past couple of years of unarmed Black men and women and children getting murdered at the hands of police, it kind of like triggered something, because my cousin was killed by an off-duty police officer when I was 16 in 2016. So it was like, I kind of felt like I had to step up and do something, even if it wasn't organizing protests, because at first I wasn't organizing, I was just a part of it. And I saw the emotions and the pain that the people were feeling, and it just, you know, I just was empathetic, and I felt the same way. So I was like, you know, like, let me start doing something. It was actually Treon's idea to organize the first protest.
Okay. Perfect pass off. By the way, I'm like, there's so much I already want to dig into. And thank you already for being so open and sharing yourself with us. So awesome intro. And yeah, there's a lot interesting about you, I can already tell. So never say that about yourself. And anyway, yeah. Okay, Treon. So it was your idea. Tell us a little bit about you.
All right. Well, I'm 19. My name is Treon. And yeah, like I was, I think, like a first year college student, you know, went to like BMCC. Kind of didn't like it, you know. I was thinking about transferring, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah. So, you know, I always liked, like as a kid, I liked, you know, always wanted to like change the world somehow, because I think it's kind of weird. As a kid, I always knew the world wasn't the way it should be. You know, like I feel like there's something wrong. I just didn't know what it was, because, you know, I was young. I was like, my mom tried to hide me from like the real like craziness and chaoticness of the whole world. So, you know, I just kind of was like a free roamer. I just went alone. I went to go, like, you know, like I'm not go rebel against my mother, but you know what I mean? I would just, you know, go outside when, you know, she said no. You know what I mean? Not exactly rebelling, but yeah.
Everybody rebels a little bit. Come on. We got to.
Started doing this whole thing. But yeah, like Yeah, you got, you know, oh yeah, me and Yahshiya make music. Forgot to tell you guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of how we met. Like, to be honest, like we used, yeah, like mutual friends. Like
Okay,
one
you
of
make
our,
music together.
yeah, and then
Okay, that's interesting because Yashai, you don't know this, but before you got on, I was like, "Oh, I'm learning ukulele. We have no timestamp except for the fact that like
Oh,
I have
really?
my ukulele lesson." And I was like, "Oh, Treon, do you play any instruments?" No. You didn't mention that you do music though. What kind of music?
we rap, but
Um,
like
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
trying to
so
get into other genres. Trying to.
so maybe before this is over, we can get a little taste of that. So, okay, you met each other through music. Then how did United Races start?
well,
What?
you could take it away, bro. You could take it away.
All right, I'm gonna let you plug in when you need to, whatever. But yeah, so so I was like at like, well, this is what, like last month, May. Um, this was about like, who was the last person, that one of the joggers that died? Yeah, I
Ahmaud
think it
Arbery.
was Ahmaud Arbery. Yeah, yeah.
Ahmaud Arbery, yep.
So yeah, I was on the news, like this is like one of the first stories I seen, after post COVID, of police brutality. So like I was just wondering, like, why is this happening, all that kind of stuff. And then I actually partake in my first protest during the same day Trump went to show the Bible in front of the church. So yeah, that same day I was in there. I went to like Swan Street, and that's when they started like towards the end of the night, because at the time DC had a curfew. We had to go like we had to basically just like disperse the entire area. We can't be in outside or we'll get arrested, all that kind of stuff. That's what it said. But curfew was not a widely accepted topic of enforcement, so nobody really was really messing with it. And then yeah, the whole incident on Swan Street where like the SWAT team, marshals started to zero us in, like about like I think 500 of us in one little narrow street, and one by one kids were taken, kids my age, 18 years old, 19-year-old, like it was scary, like outside hearing it. But I was in one of the houses hiding from the cops, so it was really like it messed with me a lot. Like, wow, this is what the government like tries to do. I always thought like America likes to sell like fear to their citizens. So that's why like, that moment that really heightened like my senses about how the government really like does things, how they enforce everything. So yeah, but after that day, I just like, this is also like simultaneous with the time where New York was having like a bunch of like backlash at like the protesters. So like yeah, they were looters, all that kind of stuff, rioters, defacing property, all that kind of stuff. They just had a bad light on them. So I just thought like I want to actually put an example out there. I wish we could like someone could throw an example out there, and I was just like, maybe I should just do a protest in New York. Maybe we should but I gotta see who's really with it. I see Yah doing his thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you
and
explain that. Yeah,
and
yeah.
to elaborate on that, it's like I was outside protesting since day one with the George Floyd murder, and it just seemed to me like there were no leaders of the movement. And I don't want to be a leader or anything, but people are easily influenced when everything is on social media, on the news. They see it everywhere they go outside. People are talking about it in the newspapers, and people are easily influenced to do the wrong thing. It's like monkey see, monkey do. So
Mhm.
a lot of people, well, not even honestly, it was just the media showing a lot of looting and rioting and the damaging of properties. So it kind of gave like the protest a bad name. And from what I was doing, it was more of a peaceful thing. And I've seen the first day of the protest at Barclays Center. I saw, cops mace people, arrest people unlawfully for no reason. They even tried to arrest me for trying to talk to them, have a conversation with them. They tried to mace me. They tried to arrest me. Obviously, it didn't happen. But no,
Why
we
not?
just wanted.
Why didn't they? I mean,
I
not that
did.
they should
I
have. I'm
did.
just wondering, like, how did you get out of it?
Why didn't they? I escaped. I don't know how else to say it. But I maneuvered my way out of the situation, and managed to get myself free
I
non-violently. I didn't put my hands on anybody.
well, I'm
I just got
glad
away.
that you were able to get out of there. And I mean, what I heard from both of you that I think is like so awesome. I mean, first of all, it is just, I don't know. Did either of you see Obama's speech? What was it, like 2 or 3 weeks ago?
I did.
Okay. And he
Yeah.
was
I saw
saying,
snippets.
look at the young people,
Mhm.
right? Like in times like this. And here you are, like not even wanting to be a leader. Treon, also your first protest, literally. And then here you are leading a protest where 25,000 people came.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was surprising.
it
That's
was
a
really,
big
it was
fucking
surprising.
deal. That's a
Right.
big
Yeah.
fucking deal. I don't think it is surprising because what I hear from you two, why you're starting it, I mean, yeah, is that what you go by? I heard Treon call you that.
They call me Ya or Yaya.
Okay, is it okay if I call you Ya?
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, so, something happened to your family 3 years ago, and you're doing this and showing up because of also empathy and love. I mean, it's not about hate or anger is what I heard. It's about empathy and love, showing up for the people, wanting there to be a way that people can actually organize and do this together and know who the leaders are.
It's kind of deeper than that too. It's about giving the people hope and inspiration.
Mhm.
And a lot of the protests that I've been to or that I've been speaking at, I saw a lot of children in the crowds, like a lot of kids. Usually somebody told me this, like the white children would look at us black teenagers and be scared if they see us on the street or have some type of judgment already because of what they see on the media or what they see in movies and whatnot. But we're giving the black youth a good name because a lot of people that's out of touch with reality and all the information is based on news and media and not real life experiences perceive black teenagers and black youth to be like disruptive, destructive, ignorant and whatnot. So, and I know personally from people that I know and myself and Treon, for example,
Mhm.
we're not bad people. We're all human beings and we just want to live in a peaceful
Of
manner.
course.
So we
I'm like,
gotta,
I know that. And I don't even
yeah,
have to know you.
100%. But
Mhm.
there are people that are ignorant and that have, too in too deep into
Yeah,
the
they have rooted like personalities where they think that the past is the present still, and they don't want to like change. And yeah,
Do you think that it is like a personality thing? Because I don't. I think that
I
it's
feel
something,
yeah,
I think that we're taught it from the second that we're born. And
yeah.
so
yeah.
it becomes like something that we feel like is natural, but it's not.
It's
It's
not.
learned. It's learned, which
It is
means we can unlearn it if we
100%.
choose,
Yeah.
right? So, okay, you want to give the people hope for the future. I love all of that. I'm really curious to know from both of you. Trian, I'm going to start with you.
Mhm.
What is the most important thing or reform or policy? What are you fighting for right now?
Right now, I just want like different colors of people in different like seats in the office or
100%.
legislative positions. Like it's too like we have frequent like I seen this was statistic. It was like around 90% of the most powerful positions in the world. No, not in the world. In America, being political or not, are run by white people. So it's just like that really scares me. It says that, like, you know, that the people, like, let's say we're doing a protest about what, like, you know, we're doing a protest about women. I did a protest about women, right? Like about like 2 days ago, I did a protest about women, about Black women. Although I'm a Black man, you know, I'm trying to stand up for them, and that's what we should be doing.
I was
Black
muted.
women.
You couldn't hear me. I said, you're the best. Thank you for doing that.
Okay.
90% of the people are white people in power. By the way, it's white men.
White men, yes, very true. Yes.
So
very
you
true.
doing that work for women is amazing. And I'm sorry for interrupting. Keep going.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So shit, I forgot where I was. But
it's my fault. You were saying you did this work for women, but you felt like I was asking you, what's the number one thing?
Oh yeah, so like, yeah, people like, okay, we need like a trans women to fight for trans women's rights. You know what I mean? You need Black people to fight for Black people's rights that have power in these positions in legislative order. So like, I need, like, you know, representatives for each, like, you know.
Absolutely. But that is why also right now, people have been saying, like, as a white person, like, should I speak up or say anything about this? Well, fucking yeah, you should, because we're the ones that are in the positions of power right now that can make the change to, by the way, help get other people in positions of power too. So of course we should be talking about it, but we should be talking about those issues, right? There's definitely things that we don't need to be and shouldn't be talking about as white people, but I'm with you. And I think that means that, by the way, the people that are in power right now, if we truly want to make a change, have to be willing to give up some privilege, right? Like, just, it has to happen. So, okay, let's get new people in office. I think, like, let's just get rid of the system that's there.
Yeah,
complete deconstruction, and then we can reconstruct from the ground up. It goes back to even writing, like, the Constitution. I was talking to someone else, and like, who wrote the Constitution? White men.
Slave owners. Yes. So perhaps we should just rip that up and start from scratch with voices from all different communities and backgrounds. I don't know, as a thought, radical, but okay. Yeah. What about you? What is I just want to say something that wasn't radical. It's logical.
Yeah, it's very logical. I was like,
thank you.
Commend you on that.
But the main
so
thing
how do we change that though for the whole world? I mean, actually, it gives me so much hope that you all know that, because you're the next generation. Anyway, keep going.
It's about the kids too. The kids are the real change, you know. Kids that are 10 years old right now, 9 years old, 11, 12. Because in 10 years from now, they're going to be the ones in our positions. But as I was saying, the main things I want to see are, like Treon said, people of color in every industry. Because, you know, the industries that control our media and the things we see and the things we're fed, we need more people that look like us. Like, I was talking to a news reporter from CBS, and we were saying, in order for people to be inspired and for our voices to be heard, there has to be people from our communities in those meetings, in those newsrooms, in those places of power. Because
100%.
even though, like, let's say in the newsroom, they're talking about what's happening in our community based on statistics, based on videos, not based on their experiences in the community. So they don't really know how deeply and how complex it is. So we're not going to get the people who have never grown up in our communities and experienced the things that we've experienced are never going to understand fully.
Absolutely.
You know, so somebody from our community has to, you know, be educated and raise up and try to get themselves in that place of power. And that's the main reason why I'm pushing, like, unity and power to the people, because we do have all the power, and it is, the sad thing is that we just don't realize that we have all the power.
I agree.
So that's why
It's all an illusion. As
Yeah,
long as the
100%.
person in power gets the other people to believe it, it is true. But if
100%.
we start believing the opposite, that could be true too, like you're saying.
And that's why I think it's so important to take a portion of the NYPD's funding, and not only NYPD, police departments across all states, and put it into urban communities. And
Why did you do that?
because that's kind of like a racist term, urban.
It
But
is. It is.
that's why I put the. But we have to put funding into our communities because our schools are based off tax dollars, right? The community's tax dollars. Our communities have low income. So if our community is low income and our schools are built on our tax dollars, then the school is going to be low income as well. And we're going to have poor education, poor funding, fewer textbooks, less teachers, more students,
and then it just goes
overcrowded.
around and around and around. Because
Exactly.
then you get less good jobs if you have less education, whatever. I mean, that is why a system, we cannot just tweak little things. The system's literally designed to go.
Yeah, we have to rebuild. We have to rebuild
the
the system because the system wasn't built for the people. It was built for the banks. It was built for the investors. It was built for the people in power.
Exactly, just to get more money and power. Literally,
100%.
That's it, and keep everyone else out of it. So. Okay, let's talk about, you've organized, is it 2 protests so far? You had the one big one, and then you had one 2 days ago. I have no idea how big
Saturday.
it was. Okay.
Yeah, well, it was a good size. It doesn't matter.
Okay, I'm sure. And by the way, hey, it's in all cities. I was downtown Denver this weekend at Civic Center Park on Saturday for more protests and for Juneteenth celebrations. And it was a completely different crowd, shrunk than 2 weeks ago, than a month ago, which I think will continue to happen. But there are still people going, which gives me hope.
100%.
So, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's why we need to teach people not to be so influenced by social media, because half of these people are protesting because of a trend. It's like a trend to protest and to do this shit, but it's not a trend. This is really our future that we're fighting for. We're trying to change the world.
Yeah, I mean, as organizers of protests, how does that feel? Because you're still doing it, right? Like nothing's changed on your end. How do you keep getting the word out? Are you going to still organize more protests? What's the plan?
100%. 100%. We're going to continue organizing more protests. We're going to continue putting the word out, spreading the word, spreading flyers. But eventually it's going to get deeper than protesting. We want to build an organization for our communities.
Keep going. Anything else you want to go ahead, Treon?
I mean, I also wanted to just see if we can get really close with more representatives of law enforcement. You know what I mean? We're trying to have the community versus law enforcement relationship a little better between, not a little, but a lot better between the two. But I feel like it starts with a giant change, as we said earlier, destroying the entire Constitution altogether and creating a new everything. Because we can't keep doing new bills, new reforms and everything. We can't just keep overriding things and then thinking, oh yeah, it's okay now. We did a lot of those bills already. So
here's the thing. In order for us to ease tensions, it starts with the people. We have to converse. We have to talk to each other. We have to solve our problems. We have to talk like human beings and adults, have mature conversations, figure out what the problem is, and solve it.
So are you okay? So you guys are organizing these protests, talking to each other. Obviously, you're talking to me. Are you talking to police? Are you talking
100%.
to other people in the community? Talk to me about that. What is that looking like? And Treon, I'm sorry, I feel bad because you're not talking as much. But yeah, I got to ask you this. It was your brother, you said, that was murdered?
Oh, no, my cousin.
your cousin. Okay. And I'm sending you a lot of love. I'm so sorry that happened.
Thank you.
How do you get yourself to talk to cops after knowing that and going through that experience? Get yourself to come at this from a space of peace, love, and hope. And I ask because I'm sure there's other people that are going to listen to this that are angry,
Well,
you know?
Well, because
where'd he go? We lost him.
Oh, let me give him a call real quick.
He'll come back. It's okay. We can keep going. He'll come back. Unless you want to.
No, I'll call him, give him one call.
Okay. See, this is when technology is great and not great.
Yeah, his phone probably died, but hopefully he has a charger in the car.
Yeah.
I would think he has a charger in the car. I'll call him one more time.
That's actually like the place that I'm guaranteed to have a charger. Whereas in my apartment, 100%. I can't find it half the time.
But as I was saying, the main reason I can, talk to police civilly and have a intellectual conversation with them sometimes, because some police officers don't want to hear it. They're just there to put on a mean face and try to like intimidate you. But the main reason why I can do this is because I'm not ignorant. One, two, you have to evolve if you want to see evolution itself. You can't stay in the same mind frame. And it might sound like corny, but not all cops are bad. Not all cops are bad. 100%.
It's not corny. It's true. I think it's hard to remember that. Just like not all people are bad. Just like you were saying in the beginning, what you want to show youth. Hey, not all Black youth are causing a ruckus or whatever the heck you said. No shit. Because every person's different. I mean, it's crazy to me that we want to group people together like that, but we do.
You know why we do? Because welcome back, Treon.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, and he's not in a car anymore.
My phone got too hot, so it just I'm sorry.
Oh no.
But the main reason why we have these like ideologies and these stereotypes and these views of the world in different groups is because of media. And like if there was no media, we literally would not have any type of views on a certain demographic of people unless we experience something. There's a lot of racist people that hate Black people or hate Mexican people or hate Asian people strictly based off the news.
Strictly. Never interacted with the person not like them in their lives, and they feel that way for some reason. It's crazy.
And it's like, do you really trust the news and the government that much that you don't believe that there's propaganda? Like, I'm not sure if the term is imperialism, what they used to do like in the 1700s and shit, where they would go to other colonized areas and break them up in order to take over. It's like divide and conquer. Like,
I know what you're talking about. I'm like, is that imperialism? Shit, I don't know.
I think it is. But basically they want to divide us to conquer us. They want to divide us for us to live in fear, for us to never unite, for us to never come together, because they know that
that's how you keep the power.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important for us to always, like when me and Treon are protesting, we always inform the people that we are stronger together. Like power and numbers, we're always strong together. Like let's say, I'll give a stupid analogy. Let's say you're walking down a block, right? And like, you ever seen the movie The Warriors, 1970s movie? Basically, it's about like New York gangs, right? It's a 1970s movie. New York gangs from all over it. Let's say you're walking down the block and you run into an opposing member. If you're by yourself, you're more likely to get beat up. You're more likely to get harassed. You're more likely to, for something to happen. But let's say you're with 10 people. It's less likely that something's going to happen to you because you have the power in numbers. And that's what people need to understand. The more numbers we have, the more united we are, the more powerful we are. And it's just that simple.
I'm muting Treon. I don't know what's going on. I hope he's okay.
Right.
Yeah, it is that. It's totally power by numbers. It's the same thing. Like as a woman, you know, if I'm walking home and we always want to have friends with us because we don't want to walk by ourselves, you know, for a lot of the reasons that we're talking about. So, okay, the message that you're giving to everybody is we're stronger together. I mean, I want to know more about the protest 2 days ago, but I also want to know when 25,000 people, I mean, I guess it could be from both. What's been the most inspirational or surprising thing you've seen or heard at the protest?
Well, the most inspirational for me is when people praise me. I don't really, you know, I'm extremely humble. You know, I'm just a regular kid. Like anybody can do what I'm doing, or what anybody can do what Treon is doing. It's just the fact that I've decided to take like a stand, because I saw a lot of young people just sitting down, sharing stuff on social media, and not actually going outside and protesting. So the most inspirational thing to me is when people like praise me. I don't let it get to my head, but I'm glad that I can inspire people. It's inspirational to me that I inspire people.
I'm back.
Welcome back again. Yeah, I get that, because you feel like you're just doing what needed to be done.
Yeah, 100%.
But the reality is there are so many people that know what needs to be done and are scared to take action or don't think they can do it or whatever.
Well,
and
that's
you
the
just
thing.
did it.
I felt this way my whole life. Like I felt like I can do something that makes a mark. You know, I always felt like I'm gonna do something that leaves a mark, and I'm gonna do something that changes, if not the world, it changes people's minds for the better.
Hell yes.
You know,
And you're doing it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna continue doing it. It's not done yet. I just want to see.
No, it's not.
You know, I just want a better world for the future generation. Like, I'm only 19.
You're only 19. That's what I was going to say. If you keep doing that, there's no way you won't. I mean, you already have had that impact on at least, let's call it 30,000 people. Okay. At least you have done that. And that is inspiring enough. Anytime I do have a conversation or do an interview and someone tells me, oh, this impacted my life, that gives me inspiration to keep me going. And I hope that it does the same for y'all. So, okay, Treon, what you missed is I was asking y'all what has been the most inspiring or surprising thing that you've seen come out of the protest that y'all organized. So what would that be for you?
I would say inspiring wise, I would just say repealing 50A. Like about what? Like what, yeah, like 24 hours, a day and some change. 50A was repealed. You know?
Yeah. That's
yeah.
a fact.
I didn't hear what you said. Can you say it again?
Repealing 50A.
What is 50A? Because I don't, is
the
that
chokehold bill.
the what?
The chokehold bill.
In New York, yes.
That one isn't the chokehold bill. There was 10 bills. There was 10 bills that were passed.
From directly in New York you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear about them, because in Colorado, I don't necessarily know that. I know it's being passed here. So tell me, what did the protest get? What results? This is exciting.
Yeah, I know 3 bills that were passed a couple days after our protest. And I just want to say this. We informed the people on a loudspeaker on how to advocate the bills. Like we informed the people what numbers to text. We informed the people what to text the numbers and how to like have your voice heard other than social media, like lawfully.
So truly about taking action.
Yeah.
Love it.
But I know of 3 bills that were passed out of the 10. The one was 50A, which was what Treon was just talking about. It's a bill that protects police officers' records
Yeah,
Basically anything they do, like let's say they
that was it.
smack, let's say they
That's the
smack
qualified
somebody.
immunity. Is
Yeah,
it?
basically.
Yeah,
Mhm.
They
It's
got rid
like
of that here in Colorado too. It's
mhm.
awesome.
All they have it in every state for every police department.
Oh, they did? I didn't even know that.
It might not be called 58, but something along the lines of
Okay.
your records are protected from the public.
Oh, no, you're talking about something different. Okay, so all of that is public now.
Yeah,
yeah.
Beautiful.
should be. Another one was the Eric Gardner Chokehold Act, where you can't put somebody in a chokehold while trying to detain them.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw the news, but literally yesterday, was yesterday Sunday? Yeah. There was a guy in Brooklyn. He was with two white guys. He was a black guy. The white guys were like egging the cops on with their phones. The black guy says something, and then all of a sudden, bam, the cops just like charge and arrest him, take him
Yeah,
down.
so and they put him in a chokehold too, right?
And they put him in a chokehold too.
And one of the officers tapped the guy like, "Yo, get off him."
Which that was good to see, actually. An
Right.
officer actually being like, get off.
Right.
Not good to see the chokehold, especially after they just passed this law.
It's crazy.
But now he'll be held accountable. At least let's hope so.
No, he definitely will. Definitely will.
So,
But
okay.
the third one that I know of was race-based 911 calls, false 911 calls based on race.
Oh yeah, that's going now.
That was it's basically a crime now. I'm not sure if it's a misdemeanor or like a class B, but it's a crime.
Like the gal Amy in Central Park.
Yeah.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
Because that happens all the time, 911
time.
officers say, but it's never reported like that or documented.
I'm not sure if the kid's name was Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old that was playing with a fake gun in the park. And, a white lady called the cops on him saying that she thinks he has a weapon. Mind you, he's a little kid. He was 12 years old. And
it was a water gun, right?
Yeah, it was a water gun. And the police officers arrived on the scene. As soon as they stepped out the car, they shot him. He was 12 years old and he died. I forgot.
Was that in New York?
No. This wasn't in New York. This was somewhere down south, if I'm not mistaken.
Damn. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad that law passed.
Yeah. 100%. Wow. But it's deeper. We need it to be universal, not just New York. Because New York, technically, I feel like New York is sweet compared to other states. Like it's not as gruesome. It's not as bad as we do have a terrible police force though. NYPD is terrible.
Yeah.
NYPD is terrible. They harass communities. They arrest people unlawfully.
The thing is,
people aggressively.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, while like I realized like New York Police Department has always been like notoriously like, you know, screwed up and crooked like forever. So, you know, and the thing is, these mobs were all Italian back in the day. And, you know, that's why most of their securities and like procedures they go about with handling 911 calls are brutality now, quote unquote. But yeah, like it's kind of like when they see a person of color, they just think, oh yeah, so just like the Italian mobs were, they're gonna try to kill the cops because they used to kill cops too. So, you know, not like, you know, it's not like cops need to like always like have to be ready to risk their life and not pull out a gun before, you know, this person. But when their lives are in danger, it seems like they have like, you know, either backup or whatever they have to do with them. But when their lives are not in danger, it's just what do you call it? Like they just start, you know, getting too hyper. They don't like know how to think. They don't know how to like react to certain situations. They don't know how to diffuse a lot of
you become like
an ego trip.
Like non-human, yeah, like an ego trip. But I've been reading a lot of stuff about cop training and where this mentality comes from. And I mean, it is in a way, I'm going to compare it to a gang in the sense that like you have your brother's back always.
It's 100% a gang.
And yeah, it is. And so that's what and it's like this mentality. And I mean, the reality, it's a beautiful and an unfortunate thing, because I think if we don't realize this, then it becomes an unfortunate thing. our brains are so easily manipulated and trained. Like we get to believe anything that we want to, which is really powerful. And it's completely unpowerful when you don't realize that you have that power, because then you're just believing whatever you're told to you and molded. And, you know, all of that to say is like, there has to be some kind of compassion and empathy for these cops that go through this training. They're literally trained to become killers and never turn on each other. Like all of that is true. We have to talk about mental health. We're talking about so many things I think a lot of people forget. We have to talk about mental health. Where does this really all come from, and these feelings towards each other? So I don't know. You're all 19-year-olds, boys, actually. You know, I grew up as a woman from when I was born. Some people you can choose your gender, whatever. I'm not going to get into that whole conversation, but I was born a woman. I'm assuming you were all born male bodies, identify as men, right? Okay. So as 19-year-old men, how okay is it for you all right now? And by the way, there's just a lot going on. We're all going through trauma. How okay is it for you all to talk about mental health? Do you?
Honestly, I don't talk about my mental health because I feel like I'm a very optimistic person, and you know, everybody goes through their hardships or whatnot, but it's all about overcoming and beating whatever you're battling inside. A lot of things are meant to keep us down in this world. Like everything we see is always a sad story. Like we forget how beautiful this world is and how innocent we are at heart. The main reason why people are not innocent is because of how we were taught, what we were taught, and the things we experience. And it's not our fault. The system was set this way for us to, you know, be at a low vibration, you know, always sad and depressed, not really seeing the beauty of the world and nature and shit like that. So that's why I feel like what we're doing is kind of different from what other people are doing, because we're actually trying to raise people up and empower people and for them to realize their power and to realize like everything's gonna be okay if we just stop hating each other. Like it literally comes down to that. But it starts with loving yourself. You have to love yourself in order for you to love other people.
Yes.
So,
I love that you're saying it. One of my favorites, RuPaul. How in the hell can you love somebody else if you can't love yourself? You know? And it's so true. And you said something like, you know, you're in these low vibrations, right? If you're thinking negatively. I mean, literally, we're all energy, and the thoughts release frequencies and vibrations. It's true. And when you're leading a protest, 25,000 people with a message of hope, love, inspiration, and unity, come on. And those vibrations affect other people and they keep going. And I think, you know, some things that you said were so beautiful. And the truth of the matter is life is going to happen, period. And we can't control it. But what we can choose is our attitude towards it and what we do with it afterwards.
100%.
Which I'm so inspired by how you all are doing it. So, okay, Treon, coming back to you, how about you in mental health? Do you feel like you can talk about it? And is there anything else you want to say about what y'all was just saying?
Oh, I mean, like, you know, like me mental health, I feel like back then it was kind of harder for me to talk about it because, you know, I didn't like really talking, you know, about, you know, problems that I usually have. But I feel like as I talk about them, I feel like it could also inspire people to help themselves as well. So sharing stories, you know, that's why I appreciate what you're doing right here. But yeah, sharing stories is always one way, you know, to relate with somebody. And, you know, a lot of people can understand you, but not a lot of people can relate with you. So I feel like, you know, when you relate with somebody, that's when like unity is at its highest and your energy with them is at the absolute highest and everything.
It's like everything you're saying is exactly why Harry and I started Capsule. We're all walking around afraid of each other. When the reality is we literally need connection. It's part of our being as social creatures and animals that we need connection, right? And the problem is, and why we don't have connection is because we're afraid to be vulnerable, because we've been told, oh, if I tell you how I'm feeling or how this is affecting me, you can't understand me. You're not going to get me. You don't really give a shit at the end of the day. So why am I going to open up to you if I'm just going to get hurt?
And as men, we were taught like it's like weak to show your emotions and weak to express when you're sad and when you're, going through shit. A lot of people.
Do you think that's true?
Nah, I don't think it's true.
No, I think you actually look weaker when you try to hold it together and then you fucking crumble or flip out at somebody because you can't handle it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. A lot of people are fucked up in the head.
Yeah,
and
they don't.
It's not in like a sadistic, psychotic way, but in a sort of deranged and not unstable.
Like it's like a tradition. It's like a routine for them to like continue to bottle up their emotions, and it's hard to do that when you have years on decades of life to go, or you've lived years of life and you don't know what to do now. That's why a lot of things just a lot of unfortunate events happen because people don't know how to talk.
Exactly.
That's why I feel like it's so important for people, and that we educate people on how to move forward and let go of certain things.
Absolutely.
When I say let go, I don't mean to forget, but let go of the emotional draining.
Yeah, stop letting it take over you and instead use it to power you to do something moving forward, just like you did with your cousin, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't mean you've forgotten, but I mean, I'm going to fuel that to do something good rather than having
100%.
it take over my life. And you know what, you guys, like you two 19-year-old men talking to me about this stuff publicly, I hope that people your age watch this and see, whoa, like I can do that. And that it's powerful and that you're changing the world by talking about love, by talking about mental health, by talking about opening up and connecting with people. So I'm so inspired by you two.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything that, and I want to give both of you the opportunity, because I've asked a lot of questions here, two unique individuals. I always say like your vibe attracts your tribe. And it's wild because so many of the things that you two said throughout this, I'm like, oh my God, I could literally be saying the same thing. And it's beautiful, beautiful people, like very spiritual. I can feel that from you. Is there anything that you want to say while we have this public platform, this is going on a podcast, any message that you want to give to people about growing up Black in America, about starting a protest, about being a leader, about being a 19-year-old in this country, about being a man in this country, anything. Now is the time, obviously, the topic of this particular podcast, so maybe keep it along the lines of racism in America. But yeah, please, what message would you like to share with the world, or what thing do you need them to know?
Treon, you got anything you want to say?
I'll go first. I was gonna say, like, for young kids out there that or people who just who doesn't want to, like, doesn't think they have that drive or compassion and do whatever they want to do. Like, point of like we're our protest that we try to do. I don't like to be seen as a leader. I like to be seen as an example. Not like I don't want people to think like, because like leader has like a more like, it could be positive and a negative connotation. So like
no, I feel like it's beautiful what you're saying. It's for the people. You're just doing it to be a part of the people, to show the way, not to be the only one doing it.
I could start up the chants in the protest, and I could be with you screaming in the chants on the megaphone at the same time. You know what I mean? It's not like, I have to keep leading and everything. I was talking to people during this stuff too. So, just being an example, a good example in this world, creates more good examples in this world.
Literally be the change, right? Come on.
Be the change.
Oh, so beautiful. Is there anything, by the way, Treon, and of course, yeah, this is going to go to you too. You all have been talking to young people a lot. I think the young people get it more, to be honest. Is there anything you want to say to the older generation that might think fuck, I'm cynical or jaded, nothing's going to change. Or by the way, I get it already. I don't need to learn more, have these conversations, or just not doing anything. Is there anything you want to say to the older generation?
I mean, like older generation, life is short. You can always change. It's not, it's not short enough and it's not long enough, but you have enough time in life to change who you are. And, like there's a lot of pain they hold within them, kind of scared, like, they have, grudges and a whole bunch of stuff, issues. But, I feel like if you let the younger generation do what they do, I feel like this will, open up your eyes to just letting you do you. You know what I mean? Because you can't really stop us. You know what I mean? You can't really stop like I know. I mean, I don't have kids right now, but I know when my mom was raising me, she was really so freaking pissed every single time I come home late or whatever, do whatever I was doing and shit. And that my sister and my brother couldn't do the same shit. I'm like, you know what? They're gonna say something anyway. So you know what? It's just you do whatever, and doing whatever you want always leads to what you probably gonna get. That's the quickest way to get what you want, to do whatever you want. You know what I mean? So just let you do you and let everyone do it, everyone.
I want to expand on what Treon was just saying. To all the old people, all the older people, the older generation, the youth and the children are easily influenced. So use your knowledge, use your wisdom to influence the young people in a positive manner. Don't try to spread your bigotry and your hatred and your ignorance, because the only thing that's going to do is create more ignorant people and more hate in the world. So if you're old, you already lived your life and you kind of have your views on the world set in stone. What about the people that are still trying to find their way throughout this world to find out who they are? You want to influence those people to become better than you, because obviously the older generation has failed. Look at the state of the world we're in, and not even putting the blame on them. It's more of the system has failed you guys, and the system is failing us as well. So if you believe the system has failed you or your people, do all that you can do to lead. You don't have to go outside and protest or whatever. But when you're outside grocery shopping and you see a young black kid or a young white male, a young white woman, talk to them, see where their head is at, see how they're doing, and try to influence them to become a better version of you. And I kind of want to like to all the young people that are watching or that end up seeing this, you only live once, you only live once. And when you die, you don't want to die a death. And then you're going to be like, damn, I didn't do shit with my life. I just lived a normal life. I didn't do anything. I silenced my voice. You don't want to ever silence your voice, because you never know if your voice resonates with 10 people, 1,000 people, 100,000 people, 1,000,000 people. You never know who can relate to your story and whatnot. And life is about growing, and life is about evolving and becoming better every day. Sometimes there are setbacks. The world is mean, the world is nasty, but how are we going to change this world if we just continue to spread hate? The only thing we can do is love one another. It's literally that simple. All we have to do is love each other and try to break out of our ways. And I also want the young people to be mindful of their actions. Like, you have to be mindful of the things that you do. Sometimes we just act based off instinct and things we were taught. Like, that's just our nature. But I just want the young people to be mindful of the things they do and the effect it's gonna have, because everything has a butterfly effect, So do you want to destroy the world, or do you want to change the world for the better? Like, there's only two options. And obviously, like we feel like the world is being destroyed in front of our eyes. So we want to step up and influence the people to realize what's really going on, initiate a plan, and just change shit through actions, not through words, through actions.
Yeah, I'm leaving this conversation full of love, full of inspiration to take action and to spread it forward. I feel like those are the things that y'all are saying over and over again.
100%.
Choose love, because the other choice is hate. So let's choose love. And that's literally as simple as it is. Do something with it, take action, make something of your life, and spread it forward, young and old people. I love it all.
100%.
Thank you both so much. If people are listening that are in New York, is there another protest or something that y'all are organizing that you want to give a shout out to, or a shout out to anything that you all are doing? Should I direct people somewhere?
Well, I just want to say follow us on Instagram at the United Races. That's at the.
We'll be putting a little tag on it on the comments, so
okay.
Right,
they'll know exactly where to go.
I want to direct people to hope and truth. All the people listening, don't just accept what you hear and accept what you see. Seek your own truth, and because there's depths of every situation and everything you learn.
Question everything.
100%. And be mindful. Be mindful. That's it.
Yep.
And
it's like what
yourself.
You're saying. It's not complicated.
It's not.
It's
but
simple.
It is at the same
somehow
time.
we complicate it. Totally.
100%.
I mean, honestly, I could talk to you guys for a long time, but unfortunately, I do have to wrap it up. So, anything else either of you want to say on the record?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have much. Just keep fighting. Yeah. Keep fighting till it's over. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's not a movement. Not a moment. It's a movement. It's going to be life's work.
And I want to say one more thing. You don't have to try to change the whole entire world. You can start little by changing something in your community, maybe even your home, maybe your racist parents,
or yourself.
Or yourself. That's where it starts. Yourself.
I love it. Yeah, and that's a really good point, because people get overwhelmed. There's so much. How do I even start? Fuck it. I'm not going to do anything. I've said the same thing before. My friends say to me all the time, Jamie, think globally, start locally. Right. One small action, like you said, it's a ripple effect. It will keep spreading. So you're right. It doesn't have to be a big thing to be a big thing,
Yep.
Okay. Thank you both. I'm going to go ahead and stop the live stream. Again, anyone that's watching, check them out on the United Races on Instagram. We will be putting it in the comment section. Thank you, everybody, for listening and being a part of this conversation as well. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the One World, Your Story podcast. If you enjoyed hearing this story and you wish to hear more, make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube, and of course, follow us on Instagram at One World, Your Story. From all of us here at the One World, Your Story podcast, we are sending you so much joy and love. Have a wonderful rest of your day.